I'm really utilizing all the space in this room, moving around in circles. Hello everyone, my name is Valkyrieholmes, and I hate time blocking. Ever since I was 16, I've been testing out new methods of productivity that might match me and help me be as creative and aligned with what I want to do in the day as possible. I'm an extremely productivity-oriented person to the point where I have tried to make virtually every portion of my life as productive as it could possibly be. If I'm taking a shower, what's the quickest method, the best products to use, in the quickest way, in and out, how do I do it the best? If I'm hanging out with a friend, how do I optimize our time without being clingy or overbearing, but also respecting both of our times and schedules? That may sound weird, but this is just to say, trust me, I've tried out a lot of things in terms of productivity over the years, and none of them have really sit quite as right as the one that I'm about to describe to you. I don't want to make this video too long because I respect your time and your productivity has a lot of greater needs than watching this video over and over again, so let's just jump right into it. My preferred method is one that I haven't really seen that much, and I'd like to call it checkboxing. No, this isn't two commonly used marks battling it out. It's basically a method of doing specific tasks in an order that suits you throughout the day that you can maneuver and gives you a lot more flexibility than the average rigidity of a regular time blocking program. It allows you to move things around throughout the day without being overly strict on when you do things and when you start other things, and you end up getting a lot more things done when you can keep track of them in a specific manner that isn't just blocking out periods of time. I'll break down everything I do and then expand on ways that you can optimize it for yourself. I'll be using Notion for this video, but you can use any note-taking app that you prefer. Now, when I first started out, my to-do list looked a little something like this. It was a long list of pretty general things I needed to get done and a calendar full of meetings and times blocked off to dedicate to things. Not only did a schedule like this stress me out and not really give me the added flexibility that I needed, but it just wasn't fun to look at, and it really didn't optimize my time at all. It required so much spare room and deliberation on my part, and when I broke general things into more specific tasks, I just kind of jumbled them all into the same checklist, which just ended up creating a mess of things. Then it transformed into this, which is slightly better. It consisted of things I had to do for school, work, and things I wanted to do for fun. There still wasn't any rhyme or reason to them being done until I added dates later on, but there was at least some form of categorization I could pull things from. I would set it up the night before, usually brainstorming things that I would add to my list in the beginning of the week in a bunch of different categories, regardless of what they were, and I started my week feeling pretty organized, but there was something still missing there. And slowly but surely, I've iterated on my ideas and come up with a system that I use today. It's clean, it's neat, it doesn't stress me out to open my computer every day looking at it, and best of all, it is extremely efficient. I'd say the system works best for people that want to be flexible and have a lot of room to play with their timing and the tasks that they need to get done in the middle of the day. And I also find that it helps with focus, as if I'm really struggling with a bigger task, I can kind of move things around in my schedule to get smaller things done and build that momentum that I need to get on to the bigger task and really complete it. This isn't me saying you should never do a couple of hours of deep focused work, which is kind of what I do anyways during the day, but this is just saying that a schedule like this will probably help you if you have smaller things to do and you like checklists and you're tired of the time blocking kind of like stressing you out. I'd say for the average person, you can probably afford some flexibility. Okay, here it is. I started by separating things, and I needed to do this into 3 separate categories. I no longer organize them by the contact switching that I would do from work to school to play, because I technically already do that in my daily updates anyways, so there really wasn't any point in splitting them up in the categories above anyways. So here I've separated them into entrees, sides, and desserts, kind of with a food theme into it. So entrees are the big ticket things that I need to get done. It's any big goals I have for the week, anything that might take a longer period of time, anything I have to do pretty deep work on, and then just things that are mainly a high priority item for me. Sides are just below entrees in that they're projects that I still want to get done, but they're just not as important as the ones in entrees, or they take slightly less time. They're usually things that I'm also pretty excited about, so maybe could be like side projects or like little things that have to do with my company that aren't like a main ticket item, but they're still things that I want to prioritize getting done during the week. And then treats are things that I can look forward to at the end of the week. It's important to schedule in time for yourself too, and I find that this is a great motivator and something I can look forward to at the end of the week when I look at the weekend and see, oh, I have a Shrek rave planned, or I have I'm visiting some friends on the weekend. Like it's just great to get into that flow of, oh yeah, like I get to do these things. I can schedule them into my time regardless of when it is. Now you can organize these categories into a bunch of different things. It doesn't have to be like high priority, mid priority, low priority kind of things like I did. I was brainstorming for this video, and you can probably split them into things strictly based on time. So things that maybe take less than 30 minutes, things that take an hour, things that take over 2 hours. That's slightly more like time blocking, but at least it gives you the flexibility to choose where you put those things, and it's not completely regimented. You could do it for separate topics if you're in a lot of different industries and you have to contact switch a lot, or you could do things for learning/building and separate them into those two categories. The possibilities are quite literally endless, but the point is that you keep some sort of metric on the kinds of things that you're doing, and you don't just have a jumbled checklist of things that you have to get done during the week. Then we get into the daily habits, which is kind of the fun part for me. Every night before I go to bed, I set this up, and this is critical if you want to have a pretty stress-free day, morning. It kind of all filters together. Not only is it more productive to have it figured out the day before, but you're not opening your computer, mid-coffee, it hasn't even hit yet. Your back is hurting because you slept wrong and you haven't really evened yourself out yet. You're still trying to figure out what you're going to do, and it's probably not the best start to your morning. Now, as you can see here within my daily habits, I have some things italicized and in a different style, and these are my routine checkbox items. Out of all of the things I have to do in the day, I have a few that really don't change at all, and this is kind of the distinction that I make here with the italicized motion. It's my routine for the morning and nighttime. It's my routine for reading in the morning and having lunch with my matcha tea. It's things like that I don't really want to change, and I want to instill as routine habits for myself. Basically, setting them in a different font or putting some sort of distinction there makes me feel like, oh, I can't skip these. These are just integral parts of my day that I can check off once I've done them, but I really need to stick to that schedule. And usually they have to do with my well-being or my health, or just things to better myself that aren't going to really change. And then we have the bulk of the routine, and this is what I have to set up every day before I go to bed. In fact, after this video, I am setting up my day because it is currently 11 p.m. and I wake up at 6:30, so I'm not off to a great start in terms of sleep. Now, this is where you get to drag all of the things that you set up in the beginning of the week into your daily schedule, and undoubtedly the things that will pop up in your week that you need to add to your daily schedule, and you basically just put that all in and figure out what times you need to allot for them, what's going to make the most sense for you in that day. If you have meetings then, I usually use Google Calendar just to have that as an aside from all of the things that I have to do in the week in terms of check boxes. And this causes you to think about how you want to structure your day, and it causes you to track patterns on things that you might think take more time but really take less, or vice versa. And rather than blocking it in, you have that much needed wiggle room to be able to actually do things with it and move things around. And it's not as stressful as saying, oh, I have to block in time to relax, or I have to block in time to be lazy. Instead, you just have that time whenever it fits into your schedule. And if not, then you can fit it in another day, and etc. I usually do a reflection at the start of the week, and it kind of helps me align myself with the things that I want to do, the things that didn't work out last week, whether I was emotionally connected to different ideas, or whether or not I was feeling motivated for certain things or not. Sometimes items can live on your to-do list for months and you don't even realize that they're there, and that's when you kind of have to think about it. And so recently, very recently, I've started reflecting after every week, and I can tell that it's rubbing off on me. I can kind of reassure myself that things are going the right way, and if they're not, I can kind of resort to other methods of getting things done quickly or more efficiently. And then you're set for the day. There's no need for frantically trying to fit more time into your schedule when you've already blocked it off, or frantically trying to put together another schedule because your block ended early. It's completely under your control. I move smaller and larger things around probably 10 to 20 times every day, because either things end up taking less time than I think, or I can fit smaller things in that pop up during the day. And as you can see here, I kind of just collect them all into my done category. So that kind of ties in with my reflection, where I can look at it and say, okay, these are the things I got done. Am I happy with that? What am I thinking? If you're like me and you like checklists, this is such a satisfying way to get things done in the day. I get so much satisfaction from checking things off, and especially, I think I mentioned it a little bit before, but when you start your day, a lot of people would recommend to do a lot of the big, heavy, long things first. So for me, it would be like writing pages in my book or working on Ember. And I actually find that getting smaller things done in the day, just like having those little habits that you can check off every day, actually really help in terms of momentum and getting that ball rolling in the morning, so that you don't just say, oh man, like I have to wake up and I have to do this hard thing right away. It's more like you build kind of like the work ethic, and you build, oh, like I'm getting things done, I'm crossing things off. Now I'm ready to kind of go into the flow of a deep work state. And this is just my personal preference, but I've found that it worked wonders, and I've been doing this for the last 2 years with various iterations. I'm sure you can see on my Notion page, I have different toggles for my yearly plans and goals. I have now a new toggle for my workout plans where I just track things in there, and I usually have links and notes and things like that throughout the day that I will take in the bottom. But there's a bunch of different ways that you can customize a Notion page if you're using it, or some other kind of note-taking app, and it's really easy, and I find that this has worked so well for me. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please subscribe and hit the thumbs up button, and comment what you'd like to see from me. I'm kind of going all over the place with these videos, but I'm enjoying it, so I'd love to know if you are as well. This was actually inspired from a conversation that I had with a girl that was asking me how I manage my time, and I had to sit down and say, yeah, why do I feel like I'm pretty productive? Like, what goes into that? And it was a nice little like reflection period for me in terms of trying to figure out like, oh, like what actually makes me the kind of person that likes checklists, and like why does this work? So hopefully you took something from this, and with that being said, I will see you in the next video. Little Bird signing off.